So, good morning from Costa Rica. Sunny morning today, and also very humid, but very beautiful. But I know for many of you is good afternoon, maybe good night for some of you. I don't know, but welcome and thank you for being here. Your presence is so important, and so grateful to have you here. So my name is Alicia Jimenez. I work for Air Charter International Secretariat and the Charter Center for Education for Sustainable Development. We are based at the University for Peace campus in Costa Rica. Here we are surrounded by a forest, which is very beautiful. So hopefully some of you can visit us someday. So we have a chat box there if you want, for the meantime, if you want to say something, introduce yourself. We'll get a chance as well to get to know who's here in the room, but for the meantime. Um, so for today, we are really grateful as well to have three wonderful educators from different education contexts to share good practices on ESD, on Education for Sustainable Development. So why are we organizing this event? I think we think that it's very important to hear from those who are there in the classroom, with the communities, to hear from their experiences and how they are infusing sustainability in education. I remind you that this is a 1.5 hour event. So, and this activity we are organizing under the framework of the UNESCO Chair on Education for Sustainable Development with the Earth Charter that we coordinate with the University for Peace. So to learn a little bit of who is here in the room, I'm going to invite you. If you can check here in the chat box, oh no, wait, just a second. I'm going to share a link. So you can click on that link. Let's see. Do you see the link? If you can click there, and you will see it's like a Mentimeter thing. It's where you can type which country you are now. So you can type that, and I'll share my screen so we can see. Hope you can see my screen. So there are many people from Germany. Well, not many, but some of you are coming from Germany, from Costa Rica, as well from Canada, Kenya, the US, Netherlands. That's great. So several from Netherlands, from Norway. Very good. Guam. I know, Debbie, I saw Debbie. This is wonderful that you are there. Oh, Debbie, for you, it must be very late. Oh, my goodness. From Philippines as well. Someone from the Philippines, it must be a bit late. Oh, that's good. From Spain, United Kingdom as well. Very good. From the US. Puerto Rico. Very nice. Very nice. Very good. Okay. This is great to learn a little bit from where we are, from Malawi, Nairobi, Kenya. Fatima is coming from the US, Connecticut. Very good. So, and there's another question there while you are introducing there. There's one that is like a little bit of which sector do you work? So it's also to get the sense of who we are here, people from universities or from governments, from NGOs, private sector, from primary, secondary education, or if there's others. So we'll see. So now the majority from NGOs, but there's also people coming from primary, secondary. Now the majority is from universities. This is very good. Very good to see. And it's good as well to use the chat box so we can learn. This is just a little bit of the big picture of who we are here. And what we can see is a diverse group of people. I think we are representing all regions of the world and many sectors as well. So this is wonderful. So thank you so much. So we get a picture majority from universities, but many other sectors too. Okay, so this is a little bit, and I invite you to continue to use the chat box. Sorry for the chat box to interact and etc. and get to know each other. So today, let me introduce very briefly the speakers that we have for today. The pleasure to have here. You saw in the page for this event, you got a little bit more information. I'll just give here a summary. So Maria Garcia Alvarez, she's from Spain. So she's a senior lecturer of the Global Project and Change Management BBA program at Windesheim University of Applied Science in the Netherlands. She's co-developer and coordinator of the educational concept called Value Creators, which was awarded by the Dutch Ministry of Education with a higher award on education innovation. So that's great. She is a charter certified ESG educator and is involved with many other international networks on sustainable development. She's now a PhD candidate at the Faculty of Philosophy, Anthropology, and Education at the University of the Basque Country. She's also a special editor for Springer Nature series on Discover Sustainability. So thank you, Maria, for being here. Then we have Emma Morris. She's from the UK and Germany. Currently the CAS and Service Learning Coordinator at the Bavarian International School in Munich, in Germany. She's originally trained as a secondary music teacher before diversifying into international experience learning. She comes with over 20 years of applying the art of community service and sustainability project management within education. She's also an Earth Charter educator. And Silvia Ferrero, she is from UK as well, and Italy. She's an Earth Charter certified educator as well, and UK focal point. She's an anthropologist, managing director of Silvia Latam Consultancy, coaching and mentoring on eco-development. She has a PhD in social anthropology as a motivational coach. She works with private and corporate clients, secondary university students, and so she's there in the field with many different contexts in education. So what is the plan for today? So the panelists will answer several questions that I'll post for them, and that will help us to learn more about their work. And then you're invited always to make comments using the chat. We'll be compiling those. But at the end of their interventions, we'll open a space for comments and questions with those of you who would like to take the floor or ask questions or interact. So if you, at the end of that process, if you want to speak or something, you can there's an icon to raise the hand and to request to open the mic at that moment. But for now, well, we really appreciate if you can turn off your mic as we're recording these sessions. And of course, we'll be sharing the recording with you later on. Well, I mean, not later, after tomorrow. So anyway, so let's start now with the questions that we have. So first, we'd like to get a bit of the picture of the work that these wonderful women are doing, right? Their work context. So I'll ask the three of you if you can share a little bit of what you do. What is the context that you are? And why did you decide to incorporate sustainability in your teaching? How has been your journey in infusing sustainability in your teaching? How did you start? And what is your focus in the present moment? So for this, I'll ask Maria to start, and then we'll continue with the others. Thank you, Maria.
Share I think you can see it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you first, everyone, for being here, and of course for the invitation. and an honor to share this moment with Emma and with Sylvia. For me, the context is in, as you can see in this map, is in the Netherlands. The Windesheim University of Applied Sciences has two campuses. The one I'm based and the biggest is in Zwolle, but we have also another campus in Almere, so you can see in the map a little bit more closer to Amsterdam, a more multicultural campus, etc. For those of you that are not from the Netherlands, in the Netherlands is a big differentiation between universities of applied sciences and, let's say, research universities.
In terms of waste management.
Oh, I see something in the background. So our university is an applied sciences university, and that means that we are quite practical in the approach. Of course, we do research, but it's always like applied research, action research, to give you a little bit the context. And inside of this university, quite big, more than 24,000 students in the two campus. And actually today celebrating that the national students always vote and give feedback in a national survey. And we have been selected once more one of the best universities in the country. And inside of this concept, some years ago, we developed the Windesheim Honors College. I think it was back in 2009. And it's the first and I think the only professional college inside in the Netherlands. And it is a concept like a university college, liberal arts type of college that you can find more in the research university. And we offer inside of this kind of concept of the Windesheim Honors College a full BBA. That's what I work in the Global Project and Change Management. It's a 4-year bachelor, international, so it's all in English, which is centering global issues in project and challenge based learning or mission-oriented learning. And it's, of course, inside of the honors characteristics of the education in the Netherlands, quite a small scale and intensive. And at the same time, inside of the Windesheim Honors College, we also offer for JACIMA students who follow any other program at our university, a 1-year experience, so as an extra activity. So next to whatever study, if they're doing engineering or nursing or social workers, they can take 1 year to work in a topic inside of 3 areas: social innovation, technology and society, and sustainable society, which, as you can see, also has a tint of sustainability education. For us in the Netherlands, honors education does not really mean, let's say, high grades. The core values for honors education is diversity and inclusiveness, that we are learning community, so most of the time it's a small scale, a lot of focus on personal leadership, value creation has play a big role, so our students have to create social value, experiential learning and critical thinking. And of course, that the learning environment that you provide is quite challenging academically. So in that sense, in comparison with the traditional action research and doses of research in an applied sciences, we do really a high research level with our students. We try to create a community, so it's non-hierarchical, where teachers and students are learning at the same time from each other. And of course, the bounded freedom. So there's a lot of attention to personal development, risk-taking to develop your own talents, etc., which together, this combination of honors approach in education in the Netherlands is almost the soil for education for sustainable development and global citizenship. And that's how we use their charter, because our curriculum, as you can see there in the pyramid, we don't have subjects as such anymore. We have taken the decision to get rid of this silo, fragmented approach. So during year 1 and 2, the students really learn in transdisciplinary way in 3 blocks. What is the world context? What are the professional skills that you're going to need to operate in that global context? And of course, who are you? and your personal qualities. And then as they go in year 3 and 4, where they increase in complexity and autonomy, they have full block semesters working on projects for sustainable development. One much more oriented in project management skills, and value creators, which is the one I coordinate, is more focused in change agency. And later, of course, their final internship. I believe a lot of our students always have an interest to do internships in their charter. And I think I saw Juliana also here listening, is one of our students doing at this moment also research with their charter. So how did we incorporate it? Well, for me personally, following the course was giving me, we were dealing all the time how to focus in sustainability. When we started, it was the other agenda, the previous agenda, the Millennium Development Goals, I think you all remember. And then in 2015, we had the SDGs. And for us, it was always a discussion, yeah, this is a global agenda, in a way, also political agenda, but it's not a pedagogical framework. So how we incorporate this in education, how we can use it thematically to tell our students about these topics, but how can I make the link from the SDGs into a pedagogical design? And that was what the Earth Charter provided us. The Earth Charter was the why. Those pillars were telling us this is what we're doing this for. And this is our commitment to our home and our planet. And those values have to be cherished through the whole curriculum, through everything we do. We always think, how do I contribute with this learning activity to these pillars of their charter? The how we do this. So the agenda itself, the SDGs, just transform into the what. What are we doing this for? Well, to help our students to thrive and meet these goals. And the how, in the last years, we have started using it and embedding in the last 2 years the inner development goals as the framework, qualities, and skills that we can work with our students in collaboration with a lot of practitioners and the networks, and take us there. So this is kind of like a trilogy, trio we have tried to embed through the whole pyramid. And for that, of course, their charter is present. And we started offering this in the first year to all the first year students follow the ethic and leadership course with their charter. And now through the first evaluation, we're going to move it to the second year, because we think they are much more prepared and ready to understand and grasp the importance of the content of the course. But we have this collaboration with their charter that we want our students to take this course inside. So we allocate the time inside of our curriculum. So all of them are really aware of what their charter is and means. And of course, we do this not alone, not only with their charter, but we collaborate, and our students learn outside of the classroom in a lot of challenge-based projects, internships, etc., with different networks who are doing and sustaining and fostering education for sustainable development. So this is a little bit the background of our work, and we started really small, introducing it in a class. I remember a subject, and it has grown, and let's say in a good way, positive way, contaminate the whole curriculum in essence. So that's our story, and I give back the floor to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Maria. So let's hear now from Emma. So as well, a little bit of your context. Thank you so much. We'll see. You can start.
Hi. Okay, great. Lovely to be here. Thank you very much for the invitation. So I'm a secondary teacher, and I'm working on a specific area. So I just want to give you a bit of context. You can see here, this is me hidden in the context of the students.
Emma, only if you can put it like in the whole screen. I think you can do it. Yes.
Okay, great.
The slideshow. Very good.
Good. So you can see here, this is our student. This is the secondary green team, which changes all the time and warps in lots of different ways. And we are an eco school. We have the logos down the bottom here of our the primary school. We have 2 primary school campuses, one in the city and one in via Schloss in north of Munich, and then the other group here, main group of secondary students. So just to give you a bit of context here then, we have 1,200 students, we have 180 teachers, we've got roughly about 22 students in each class, and we've got lots of accreditations across for the international school scene. I'm going to share with you the website so you can explore a little bit more after today. So here's where we are located. We're just north of Munich with 1 primary school and 1 secondary school, and the other one which is in the heart of Munich as well. So my role is the coordinator for services action and CAS and service learning at the school. So I want to explain how that kind of fits together. So service, and we bring in the Earth Charter, our kind of application to become an eco school, and then as a global school, program school. This all really fits into sustainability. Everything that we teach, the values of kind of, and everything fits together within this remit. So how that integrates into the mentor, so the teacher that leads a group of students through in a grade level, they help them through the program called Services Action in the MYP, the middle years program, and then in CAS and DP, I'll describe what that is in a moment, and then service learning within the careers program. And then as a teacher within the curriculum, service needs to really, in the IB, emulate from the curriculum. And then we've got all of the accreditations, Eco Schools, the Global Schools program, and now the Earth Charter that really fits into the program we deliver. So I've just circled here, as part of the primary years program, you can see in the yellow here, the students have to do an exhibition, and the SDGs really fit into and lead the students through that project. In the middle years program, the students do their services action aspect, which is the core. And then students in the final 2 years of school, they can study either the career-related certificate, which has a community and service focus aspect. And if the students decide to do the IB diploma program, they have to do creativity, action, and service. And this is where our sustainability comes into everything. So as I said, we're an eco school. Here's some of our pictures of students holding up their flag. We first applied in 2019, and then this is our most recent one. The 2022 one was flying at the time, so when we took this picture in the snow. But you can see some of the students these are our kind of leaders in lots of different groups within the school. So we do follow the Global Schools program as well. We made that commitment, and we have all of their resources, and we try to really push the curriculum leaders and coordinators to make commitments of delivering that. We also try to bring in as much as possible, making links and connections, because everything is connected to everything else, to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And now I'm really pushing to get the Earth Charter principles in there. And we also observe the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So what is Services Action? In the MYP program, this is an experiential learning system that the students have to find their skills, their interests, and their talents, and they need to find authentic needs within their community and to fulfill those needs. And then they reflect through the whole process. They get tired of me asking them to reflect on the process, but it's so integral for them to understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how they're developing. And so the whole process of reviewing themselves and reflecting is very important, so that they begin to see, and this is really lovely that Marie was showing this too, that you've got the prisoner aspect of people just ticking the boxes, that you've got the vacationer, people that have to do it and they're following their friends, but then the other students that are really looking for how they can fit in their skills and their interests and talents into an authentic need and making change. So they're going from their personal, their community changes, and then to really having an impact on a global scale. And it's structured in different ways. So we have it in a grade level focus project that I really construct for them. And then they have to find their individual service. And then we have a service learning journal, which takes them step by step through the process. So I can share with people who are interested in this actual document where students go through. And I stole the idea from the Earth Charter of this preamble. So how we kind of get the students to fit in to the needs and the requirements of the MYP into their what they need to do and how they best fit to become that change maker. And the IBs they request that we go through this whole investigation for themselves and the opportunities, that they prepare themselves and make sure everything's set up for their action to take place before they launch in. And so they're really well prepared. And then all the way through, going through the 5 stages of learning, the service learning, that they understand what they're doing. And so these are just some examples of the structured grade level projects. We look at MYP1, global poverty to action. We go to a food kitchen. We look at how they fanned bottles to raise funds. We look at animals and their rights. We go to have debates about whether zoos are good or not, what happens in an animal shelter. We go to, in MYP3, they look at disasters. They look at how responses are created on a short and long-term method by government and NGOs, and they have to come up with authentic ways to gain awareness and educate those people in the school about their NGOs. MYP4, we look at sustainability and the Eco School project, and now really implementing the Earth Charter. We take them out to environmental challenge days and kind of throw them into the wild to come up to meet challenges. And in grade 10 in MYP5, they look at disability, and we get them to really immerse themselves into different situations. Looking at this is some students understanding a little bit more about autism. So they've got lots of oversensory things going on, people talking in their ears and kind of tapping them on the head whilst people are asking questions. So as an example. So the structured aspect, we assign different NGOs to different grade levels, and you can see how that goes into the different UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the students have to come up with their own services action and their own projects, but overall they have to address the learning outcomes. So these are developing their personalities and their skills. In CAS, then this is all about good health and well-being, teaching the students how to be really wonderful, balanced people. So that's the creativity, the activity and service. And then we've got 2 strands. So the CP, careers program, this has a 50-hour requirement, and their project, and the CAS, they have to do their creativity, activity and service, and then a project. So there's lots of resources and ways in which we try to make sure the students understand that. There's 7 learning outcomes in CAS that they have to evidence that they are improving development in. And then in service learning, the same thing, but 5 learning outcomes that they have to prove themselves. And we have lots of external partners that we link, and this is kind of just the sustainability project. There's tons of other ones within the creativity aspect of CAS that we engage on a weekly basis with lots of my colleagues that deliver. And there's lots of resources. And if anyone's really interested, then I've got lots of resources to share. Here's an overview.
Oh, wonderful. Just on time, both of you, Maria and Emma. Thank you so much. I want to comment because I went to see where Maria was talking about, in a higher education context, Emma in a secondary context, and but both seeing the same thing, like that. There's the pedagogical challenge of bringing, for example, the UN agendas, what Maria was saying. Okay, well, we have the SDGs. Emma as well talked about the SDGs, how you can infuse it, these UN agendas and these things that, are not created in a way that is in a pedagogical way. So it's wonderful what I see in both of your cases, how you are taking this, which is like, policy documents for different audiences and put it, in a way that could be promote action oriented. So I see in both of your cases this action oriented component, how you are students are coming up with their projects, supporting innovation, all these so linked to sustainability, which is very good. And you're also talking about the partners, which is something good that I saw. I mean, Maria was saying all those partners, and Emma, and from different civil society, so from private sector, from local governments, etc. And how important is that? How important that in education institutions are bringing that. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Emma, as well, Juana Maria, I mentioned. And we're gonna call Silvia as well. So Silvia is coming from different
I
other
live in England.
sectors.
Yes. I live in England, but I'm Italian. And I'm
Great.
coming from a different sectors. Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone. My name is Silvia Ferrero Leza. First of all, I would like to say thank you for inviting me and for organizing also this activity and this webinar, because it's very important, and I believe that it will strengthen our community. Let me share my very small presentation compared to wonderful Emma and wonderful Maria. Can you see? Yes. I am an Earth Charter educator for Sustainable Development, UK Focal Point, and Earth Charter School Seal Verifier. I am also a social anthropologist, a transformational coach, and a managing director of my own coaching practice. I'm also a deputy coordinator for Friends of the Earth in a town in southeast of England. As an anthropologist, I work as a freelance on projects that are socially oriented. As a transformational coach, I work mainly with adults, professionals in corporations, and private individuals, and my clients are mainly women. I also work with secondary school students and run small interactive and creative workshops for adolescents on relationships with themselves in terms of personal growth, their peers, and their broader social environment. One of the objectives of my workshops is to enhance students' awareness through their personal experiences and through the activities that we run in the workshops, so that they can realize that they can make a difference, not only for themselves, but also for the Earth community. As a deputy coordinator of Friends of the Earth, we run various projects and events at the national level. For example, the Great Big Green Week, which is an event that sees people acting together towards climate action. And this event has different themes. At each year, there is a different theme. And this year, the theme is swap. So we encourage people to swap objects and clothes so that we encourage recycling and reduce consumerism. Another national event, which is quite important, is the Great Get Together. And this is an annual celebration of everything that unites us all as communities. This event was inspired, unfortunately, by the assassination of Jo Cox, an English MP who campaigned against Brexit. And Jo Cox's belief was that as humans, we have more in common than that which divides us. We also organize local events. We organized 2 years ago a conference on green jobs with the Chamber of Commerce and local businesses. We have projects on recycling and waste, repair cafes, campaigns to stop idling. In July, we will have a conference on domestic retrofit. We run also art exhibitions with themes on the environment. Becoming an Earth Charter educator has allowed me to expand my consultancy also to higher education. So for 2 consecutive years, I have been a speaker, guest speaker at Canterbury Christ Church University. And I've introduced the Earth Charter to the students of an engineering course. Also being a focal point for the UK puts me in a very interesting position, because sometimes Earth Charter International contacts me and says, there is this person who would like to know if you organize local events with the Earth Charter. They would like to know more about the Earth Charter. And this is really nice, because it's always a pleasure to be able to connect, to create connections with like-minded people. For example, recently I've helped a photographer who contacted Earth Charter International. This photographer wanted to run a pilot project by the title Earth Charter Photographic Project and Stories for Migrants. And I helped him to devise a workshop and include also principles and some principles of the Earth Charter. I also put him in touch with Project 93, which is currently run at Canterbury Christ Church University, where the Earth Charter is mentioned. I decided to incorporate and embrace sustainability through the Earth Charter in my professional and educational activities, because I have a deep bond with the Earth Charter. And let me explain why and how. First of all, the Earth Charter distinctive vision of the world community has widened my anthropological understanding of our interbeing and our interconnectedness with all life forms. And this has become a milestone in my way of conceiving our relations amongst ourselves, all living beings, and life with capital L. And this has also shaped my coaching practices. And explain this better in an article that will come out in the next issue of the Earth Charter magazine, if I'm correct, in June. It should be in June. Another very important point for me is that the Earth Charter recognizes that growth in the being, and you will see it in the preamble, is essential for a peaceful conviviality among ourselves and the Earth community. And also Principle 16F, which you find in the fourth pillar, explains that peace comes first as a healthy relationship within us. So for me, this is a crucial notion of sustainability. And I'm convinced that sustainability is above all about ourselves. So we must learn to become sustainable amongst ourselves, above all in terms of peace, freedom, respect, and love. And this fits very well with the values of the Earth Charter and my mission as a coach and as an Earth Charter educator for sustainable development. For me, the theme of interbeing has been a very crucial point of departure. My journey with the Earth Charter has always been very enriching. As you may have understood, my activity as a transformational coach is more and more enmeshed and intertwined with my role as a qualified Earth Charter educator for sustainable development. And so I've integrated into the notion of sustainability, the concepts of interbeing, interconnectedness, and ecological wisdom. I have also, this has also inspired me, inspired a motivational talk that I gave last year in September at the theater in Padua by the title, The Wisdom of Nature is Connections. So please, if Maria would like to put the link on the chat. It's a very nice talk. It's in Italian, but it has English subtitles. And it's a talk that has as an underlying theme the concept of interconnectedness and our interbeing and ecological wisdom. And I talk mainly about trees and how we can develop a growth relationship with trees. How did I start? I started with a few workshops for friends. Then I was asked to give a workshop at my son's secondary school. Then a few more schools joined in. And I was able to expand my educational activity also onto Canterbury Christ Church University. As a deputy coordinator of Friends of the Earth, I grabbed every single opportunity to to introduce the Earth Charter and the appropriate principles and some principles, the suitable principles, some principles for the events that we organize. At present, I'm involved in a verification process as a Earth Charter School Seal Verifier with a primary school in the southwest of England. I'm also working on a photographic book as a follow-up of my talk in Padua last year. And I'm also involved with the parish council of my village, which has recently endorsed the Earth Charter. So I'm working with the sustainability committee of my parish council to align their activity with the principles of the Earth Charter. And my objective is to expand the concept of sustainability also onto the social activities that they organize. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvia. This is wonderful. Wonderful to get as well a sense of the richness of the education sector, right? So we saw from a university, higher education, a primary, secondary, and then Silvia that touches the non-formal education in different sectors, and that connection is very, very important. So there's another question for you. So we can see, and we can find in many policy documents, especially from UNESCO, when talking about transforming education, is that the teachers' training on sustainability is a must that needs to be done to support this transformation that we are aiming. So you participated, the three of you, in an online certificate on education for sustainable development. It's a teacher training process that was built around the UNESCO agendas as well, but infusing the Earth Charter. So how important was that program for you as an educator? What insights, knowledge, and skills did you get from that program that are important to infuse sustainability in your teaching? So you already talked about the Earth Charter, how you incorporate, but if there's anything else that you want to mention on that sense. So yes, so we're talking about professional development for educators on sustainability and your views on that. So maybe we can start with Emma.
Okay, great. Well, I'll share my screen again with you.
Okay, wonderful.
I wish our school could afford to send everybody on the online certificate for sustainable education. I think it was just an amazing and mind-blowing experience. Required lots of commitment and lots of understanding development, but wow, the resources were just incredible, and that really just it allowed me just to have so much to my fingertips to develop. So I'm going to show you a few different things that I started with along the journey and how it's developed. So first of all, I targeted the grade that we're focused on eco schools and their and sustainability, and I built like a lesson plan for them all, and then like a to understand what the Earth Charter is, and then to engage on how it links and how it's interconnected with all aspects of sustainability. I went
if you can put the
oh, sorry,
yeah the full screen. Thank you so much.
And then I also went to grade 3, and we looked at one of their projects and how they were going to develop a link with a local refugee centre. So I taught them. I developed links in each of the grade levels and their service journals, so how they developed their programme, how they looked at their question themselves, how they found their authentic links within the curriculum. So all throughout service within the MYP and the CP and then the IB diploma, I infiltrated it with the Earth Charter. I developed workshops in reconnecting with nature. This was with the grade 11. I did a workshop with the whole of the secondary staff, and we looked at sustainability worldview, how to expand. So I took little nuggets from the online course and then looked at specific things. And I just want to share a few things of those. I felt that some of the videos we watched that promoted hope, and that sense of hope, because there's just so many different responses to climate change and issues. So some of the videos, this one was from the Pioneers Conference, that was just outstanding. I gave them some exercises on what to do, what clear connections do you have in your subject area, and then we wrote them down, and then we walked around. I showed a video of like how just this beautiful video about the universe and me and how everything is connected. We get stuck in our laptops and we stuck in our little worlds and our kind of to-do list, but we forget often what's out there. So we did some kind of realization of that, and just a reminder that Leonardo da Vinci was talking about it back then. And so some of the course content was really wonderful to think about how everything is interconnected. There's from the Earth Charter. I got students to stand up on stage at big events with 2,000 people, and they were talking about how humans are part of nature, not apart from it. I got them looking at watching systems thinking and what does it mean. We talked about that. And then I loved how we looked in the course content on how everything is connected to everything. The impact as we as consumers, where does everything come from, the ingredients of everything, and how we break things down. This question blew my mind. So when were you last on your own in nature? And I asked lots of people about that. And then just that kind of question as to, no, you're never alone. There's that whole community of life out there, of all different creatures just buzzing around. And it was just amazing just to have that question. And when were you truly alone? And there was it made me cry watching this video about the work of Sewell and her how we heal people through just immersing and bathing ourselves in nature. And how everything is the systems thinking concept of how we get people to think about how everything is linked to everything else. And then we did that in one of our workshops with the staff, and then we got people to walk around and see just how everything is connected. And I got students to do that as part of their mentor classes as well. Just the stories, the earth stories, wow, they're just so important. And then I realized how the only way you're going to really make some changes within an organization is to grasp people's attention. They love to be grasped by their emotions, and stories are just the way to do it. And I loved the Wise Old Man story from the Earth Charter collection of stories, and I use it all the time. And then our meditation aspect that we worked together on, and how we understand just how to breathe and how we're connected with all the plant life, and how the carbon dioxide and the oxygen cycle is just so every time we breathe, we're engaging in this. It was just astounding. And then getting the staff out of the classroom out, and they think I'm completely mad, but to get them out of their staff meeting and go for a walk is just something that you wouldn't normally do, and I really enjoyed. But I think also it was really integral and important for our staff to do that. Other things and aspects that I just was not aware of before is how ESD is developed within the UN, and all the different protocols and different policies that are being developed on a global scale by different organizations, and how we can make links to these that we looked at. And I felt really happy to know that the way that the IB is constructed, it really helps to develop their values and systems thinking, and this approach which we do all the time in our service learning, our experiential learning. And that we as teachers, and I share this with the teachers, we have that power to change, because it's part of our curriculum that we have to keep reflecting. We have to get ourselves and linked into real experiences to then understand and learn and grow. And I really am pushing a lot on this values education within our school, because wonderful as we are at developing and leading the curriculum, there's so many aspects of values education that we are needing to address. And this whole idea of the mind, body, emotions, and spirit and soul aspect is very important. And bringing this Earth Charter, this into everything, is everywhere in everything that I teach. bringing the economy, the environment, and the society into every decision that we're making, thinking whether it's ethical, that we have these values. I've got this pledge that we refer back to try and give some structure, but I just tried to make sure that it's kind of done in a beautiful way. Yeah, this is the responses that I often get from staff is, but you're adding to my workload and I really don't want to do extra work or like disbelief or dispute or like there's always lots of excuses. So trying to get people to do things in a wonderful way. So I took all of that and I went into the directors and I asked, what are we doing? What's our sustainability plan? Well, I looked at other schools. I'll show you some other schools and all of their different strategies and methods. I really loved the Frankfurt International School and their kind of phased plan. And I wanted to make sure that we were cutting edge. So quickly we saw how we could get the Earth Charter into that balance, that creating the balance of equity. And I looked at different ways we can put that into our student and our school context. And we've got this new building coming and I just thought, right, well, I want to make sure that we've got space and time for this. And I found in the course content, we looked at all these different schools that had all this wonderful outdoor learning and resources. I want to create an outdoor kitchen, all these spaces for the students to learn in different ways. And I suggested all these different things. And we're kind of now working on how we develop that within our school. So it's nonstop.
Wow, Emma. That's amazing how you were able to go through so much content, almost like a journey of the whole online certificate in 5 minutes. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Emma. I love to see all these visuals because it's, brings some memories, etc. So that's great. And it's wonderful what you're doing in your school. That's congrats as well. So let's hear now from Maria. If we can bring us
Thanks,
forward.
Emma. I don't have such an extended PowerPoint. I don't have a PowerPoint for this question. And it was really interesting. I saw some of the materials, Emma, you're using from our training, right? From Mark and yeah, really nice. Because I think for me, personally, was I always look back at this training like a turning point, not only professionally, but personally. As I said at that moment, in our practice, we were teaching or creating a program that wanted to do education for sustainable development, but we didn't know how to do this. We were dealing with this imposition of work with the agendas, do something with the agendas, the Millennium Development Goals, then the Sustainable Development Goals. And I think I was the first one in my university to follow this training. And I do remember really moments of eureka moments through the training. Like, first of all, quite practical, so short term. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm getting all these materials and tools that I can immediately really apply in my practice. Also, as part of the course, we had to develop things, and I took this opportunity to develop the first course that we had. I remember it was in Global Challenges, where we introduced the Earth Charter as a values approach to sustainability. I think midterm, it has become also an incredible network of inspiration. I go back, like Emma, I collected all the materials, so I used a lot of these PowerPoints, but then going also back to the contacts that I made during that course, and having incredible conversation. And it has also inspired me for more. So the course, of course, is kind of thinking academic terms, a semester, but then it does not end there. So for me, it has been almost like a taste of something I want to keep learning for the rest of my life. So for example, now I'm really going into regenerative education and regenerative research practices, which is becoming big here in the Netherlands. And when you look at that, and I go through these trainings and courses, you can always refer back to their charter, which is really beautiful. Of course, also midterm, it has had an impact as an ambassador, right? So I have convinced not only a lot of my students at doing something or collaborating or using Earth Charter principles for the research, but also my colleagues. We also did, in the first redevelopment of our curriculum, use their chartered assessment tool to sit down and have a conversation of, hey, to which extent are we living up to certain values and principles? And that was quite valuable. And I have to say, last year, my students from Value Creators used their charter assessment tool to create a similar tool to assess artificial intelligence inside of the curriculum, so inspire also at other levels. And a lot of my colleagues are now following the course or interested in follow the course. And I will say, long term, and Emma mentioned hope. I really think, especially for us, look, our program is really working with the students that are intrinsically motivated to become change agents. So when they come to us, this is what they want to do. And this is, but we also live in a bubble. And around the campus, and especially in the context of polarization that we are living in Europe at this moment, especially in the Netherlands, but I think in Europe, and we have elections coming soon, I think we need to understand that we have to give these students not only the messages of urgency and despair and climate disasters. Yes, that is the reality, but we also have to give them tools for hope and to imagine that alternative realities and futures are possible. And I think that is almost embedded in the core of their charter, especially in the concept of universal responsibility. So as long-term impact of this course, I hope that it continues to give me hope, as it did years ago, to pass this to my students, to feed my interest and my career, and also feeding now my PhD with a lot of information that I learned during that training. So for me, personally, I always say it, and I have shared this with you a lot of times, a profound impact in my work, but a profound impact on me as a person.
Thank you, Maria. This is great. It's great to see the similarities between your experiences and also what you're saying is transforming. At the end, that's what we want with education, right? And it's what you want as well with the education that you're teaching, right? Is to help to make a student thrive. I really like when you said that, Maria, and I think Emma mentioned, and Silvia at some point, make students thrive, and that's very important. Okay, Silvia, do you want to share some thoughts with us?
Yes, certainly. Well, you may have understood that the most important highlights, insights for me from that course have been the notions of interbeing, interconnectedness, and ecological wisdom. In fact, in the article that will be published in the Earth Charter magazine, I talk about epistemological change. I've gone through a very deep, profound change in my way of anthropological understanding. And I believe that this concept really foster in the future a real paradigmatic change. So I encourage everyone to organize activities that aim at strengthening and experiencing these notions: ecological wisdom, interconnectedness, and interbeing. Another very important insight for me has been that there is no long-term sustainability if there are no values or ethical approaches to sustainability. And this is and the Earth Charter beautifully testifies to this. In terms of knowledge, I learned system thinking is absolutely invaluable for understanding events, phenomena, for carrying out analysis and implementing sustainable practices. Studying for the online certificate for me, I was exposed to so many examples and beautiful testimonies of good practices from all over the world and from different cultures that really opened my mind, not only of how sustainability can be implemented, but also how different cultures pursue sustainability through different methods and practices. And this is absolutely valuable, absolutely vital, in my opinion. This is the most valuable element of the Earth Charter course. It was also very useful to learn the difference between the 17 SDGs and the Earth Charter, and the fact that the Earth Charter encompasses all these goals in a very integrated way, indicating the ways to achieve them with very clear ideas and calls for actions. In terms of skills, I would say that witnessing the tutors' different pedagogical approaches was a life experience in itself. I saw how transformative pedagogies can be really applied effectively with creativity, with multidisciplinary techniques, using art, music, poetry, stories, even games and practical exercises. Very intensive, but a beautiful course. And I've integrated all this in my activities and in my workshops. The values, what I value of the Charter, most of all, is the call of action. The fact that promotes through the principles and sub-principles and the division in pillars, principles, and sub-principles, gives clarity. It gives clarity to its calls for action. And also, it's a guide. It guides people on how to implement sustainability in practical ways. In fact, we say that the Earth Charter is a tool of self-assessment. So, and it's a checklist to use it towards the implementation of a sustainability. And also, I value the fact that as an ethical foundation, the Earth Charter offers incredible opportunities for debates and for personal considerations of one's own position regarding our ways of living. How do I use the Earth Charter? Well, I just give a very few examples. At Canterbury Christ Church University, besides introducing the values and the core principles, I talk about the different levels of responsibility, and I focus on the concept of social responsibility of product. So I encourage students to adopt a system thinking approach and ask them to analyze the social, economic, environmental consequences of extracting or trading minerals or growing products or producing parts of specific items. So here I share something because I want to show you something. So for example, I use the example of a cup of coffee and I distribute 2 colored cards and ask them to write in bullet points on each card answers to these 2 questions. And then I divide them in groups and I ask them to work on 2 bullet points that they have had in common from the green card. And I ask them to draw creative diagrams and symbols and pictures with colors and symbols of the links between some of the bullet points, some of the aspects they have highlighted in the different phases of production, commercialization, or consumption of coffee, and the relevant principles and some principles of the Earth Charter that would challenge those unsustainable processes. So this exercise, it may sound a little bit complicated now, but it's a very good exercise that one allows the student to really integrate the Earth Charter and to really understand and apply a system thinking approach. For my work, for my workshops as a coach, when I work in secondary schools, I always start with my workshops with ethnic music, and I run activities that are focused on the just relationships with oneself and others, and on the importance of embracing difference. So ethnic music is always also during the breaks. And some people said, in fact, Silvia, I'm traveling the world with you with all this music, beautiful music. I also love to introduce the participants to the Earth Charter by focusing first on the preamble. I believe that the Earth Charter speaks to the souls of people and not only to their minds. So a few days before I start the workshop, I send them the Earth Charter and also this written exercise. So I ask them to choose which sentence from the preamble inspired them most and touched their hearts. So I want to open the dialogue, and at the same time, I want to allow participants to experience within the effects of the values that are mentioned in the preamble and in the Earth Charter. So I encourage, when we are face to face, I encourage a discussion on the sentences, obviously on a voluntary basis. And it is the best way to introduce them to the values of the Earth Charter. As a coach, I recently suggested to supported an Italian clients who volunteers with victims of modern slavery and migrant women in Padua. And I suggested this book. And this book was very, very valuable and useful for her thesis. With the parish council that I'm working with now, I introduced the members of the committee, of the sustainability committee, to this document, which is a very good case study of how a city implemented the Earth Charter 360 degrees in their municipality. And you find this in the virtual library. In relation to my activity as a deputy coordinator of Friends of the Earth, you may imagine every activity is introduced, is presented first by introducing the Earth Charter and the principles and sub-principles of the Earth Charter. For example, Repair Café can be associated with sub-principle 7A, or the Great Get Together 2 years ago. We invited some Ukrainian women and we talked about the 4th pillar of the Earth Charter. Or last year, we organized a conference on green jobs. So I introduced the principles of the pillar number 2, the ecological integrity. And so I highlighted the sub-principles that where they talk about the call for our deepest sense of responsibility.
Sylvia, sorry, it's because there were 5 minutes, so I think
that's
it went by.
So these are just few examples that I used. Finished.
Thank you. These are wonderful. Sorry, it's just that I hope we had more time, but
it's okay.
I think they were asking if you could share a little bit those. Maybe at some point, if you would like to share, and if you send to us when we send a recording to participants, we can share this information more easily. Okay, so lastly, we want to wrap up with something that I think is important. It's mentioned many times in how to go about education for sustainable development, and UNESCO and many actors in this aspect talk about the whole institution approach for sustainability, how to be more coherent with the practice, not only what you teach with what you live in the university, in the schools, or in other places. So considering this, what would you recommend schools or universities to do or universities, schools, etc., to try to put this more holistic approach of sustainability into practice? So we'll start with Maria, and then Sylvia and Emma can talk a little bit about the school seal that you are as well more familiar with. Mm-hmm.
This is a difficult one for higher education, I have to say. I do believe that a higher education is really prepared for, at least my experience in the Netherlands and through some networks in Europe, for education about sustainable development. Now, if the question is, are we really prepared to really move into a holistic approach to education for sustainable development, or as we are trying to aim as sustainable development, that is really, really tricky, because goes beyond the curriculum, right? It has to be a whole sustaining structure, and universities are really complex traditional silo structures. Already pushing multidisciplinarity is a challenge. So when we talk, or I talk about inter-transdisciplinarity in the university, people get itchy. So my recommendation is, I made the mistake for so many years to put a lot of efforts of trying to convince and everyone, we have to do this together, from facility management to all. And I got so exhausted and frustrated. And I hear from so many colleagues in that journey that exit education, and actually in the academic articles, we can find out the term exiting education, giving up hope. The decision for me is really focusing what works, and really focusing the small areas that you can control, and start there. And I think for us, it has worked like that, right? We started with one little subject, two little things regarding the incorporation of their charter, not sustainability, but has lead us to much more consistent and coherent curriculum, and to put much more attention of the education for sustainable development practices that we want to embed. So I would say, focus your energy in the people that wants to do that, really is motivated for change, and don't break your head anymore losing your time with people that is really stuck in the system. Yesterday, we have now a program manager in our university to promote activism, to promote agency. And he just told me education, higher education is collapsing. The system is collapsing. So do you want to sink in the boat with the ones that are denying and go back to the denial? Or do you want to put your energy in the ones picturing a better transformative future? So put your energy there, and it does not matter if you do the smallest steps. But we really have to, little by little, rethink also the spaces where we teach it. Not only the education and the curriculum, but also our campus. We should be incredible labs for regenerative education.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maria. And now maybe Silvia, and then we finish with Emma.
Yes.
If you can talk about the whole, and
yes.
also your comments on the charter school seal. How do you see that as a tool for?
Well, I'm currently working with a primary school in the southwest of England, and they've just started the process, so I can't say a lot. But certainly, the Earth Charter School Seal has the potential to be a useful tool to promote a whole institution approach, because if you start the process, you see they will provide a grid of self-assessment that certainly makes schools aware of the wide range of actions and possibility that they can embrace in various areas of their institutional activities. However, I don't know, I would recommend that the schools start from their own offices, as Maria said, small steps. Start from their own offices, and from also the curriculum. Their initiative could then spread to other sectors of the school. They could have parents involved and the community involved in simple projects and activities. I think that sustainability is an attitude, so it can spread by becoming ourselves examples for our own with our own actions. So our sustainable actions can inspire other people in other areas or sectors of our institutions. And we can do it with small steps to show that real change is feasible and with everyone's reach. And the Earth Charter can provide a useful guide or handbook for identify what is needed. And then I would ask simple questions. For example, what are we already doing towards sustainability that other people in our institution can do as well? or what can be easily changed so that other people in other departments can do it as well. What do we need to implement in order to foster change throughout our organization? But I would like also to make a suggestion to extend the whole institutional approach outside of the education context, considering my experience. In my experience, for example, with the parish council of my village, I could really see that they were applying a sort of whole institutional approach for sustainability throughout their numerous activities by involving different institutional sectors within the parish. And this is what prompted me to approach them and invite them to endorse the Earth Charter and offer my help in implementing sustainability through the Earth Charter. So we don't have to, obviously, these institutions don't have the pedagogical aspect, but it's certainly something that we can promote as a discourse.
Wonderful. Yes, Emma, we can conclude with you.
Okay, we're going through our process now, so I'm going to share with you what's happening. So we applied and have been since 2019 to be an eco school, and I'm one of those people that is a real ambassador for sustainability, for change, and some people find that difficult.
Sorry, Emma, can you put the
oh, sorry, I did it again.
slideshow, the slideshow?
Sorry, yeah. Because we have so much to look at in terms of being very sustainable as a school, and it's really challenging, as you've heard already, and probably experienced. So we get the award mainly because there's some fantastic student projects that are going on in the school, and the students are really engaged. But as holistically as an organisation, there's some real challenges that we have to address, not just in the school itself, but also kind of the education of the parents and the community that extends from our school. I just wanted to include this because it was just the other week, some experiences of creating hope. And we went to the Day of Hope, which was hosted in Munich. And you can see a whole, like 30 different schools that were showing all of their different projects. And then there was a whole day full of different events. And it was just really fascinating to share within the network of schools. And I just want to show you last week, Tuesday and Thursday, we had whole days of timetable for the grade 9s, and I took them all on this big challenge day across the local village, and we were looking at all sorts of different practices, from the Bund Naturschutz to going to our permaculture CAS project in the village, to moving the school garden because we've got this new building coming, and so we have to move the garden, and then ecological practices of moving and removing invasive plant species, and then looking at how we utilize and work with nature with kind of energy production with turbines. So as I said before, we were looking at how we can build sustainability into our school and our processes. And then all of a sudden there was a real opportunity, and I took it, and we were looking and assessing our school and development and measuring successes and really pushing our school in to become much better. And so we were developing as a school all these different measurements, and I'm in charge of the innovation aspect, and we have to measure and the Earth Charter verification process for the Earth Charter's school seal has become one of the measurement strategies, which I'm really excited to look at. So in our statement of purpose as a school, I've managed to squeeze in there sustainability and a peaceful future. So that was really challenging to get in, but managed to have an impact, so that we've got all these wonderful words of respect and care, belonging, flourishing, innovation, and then sustainability and peace. So really trying to make an impact. And the aspect I'm looking at is innovation, and you've got the sustainability as part of innovation. And what I'm finding really important in the process of becoming an Earth Charter seal school is how we assess ourselves, not just on our ecological management as a school, it's how we assess our students' understanding of sustainability, their vision of sustainability, and how our teachers understand it as well, so that we develop these super teachers that are creating people that are curating and caring for the planet for the next generation. So really pushing these values, education through the whole aspect of how we're making change, looking at respect and care, which completely is different to the Eco Schools application, where you look at the projects and how we're doing that. Here, really, the Earth Charter is looking at respect and care and our values of that, and are measuring our successes in that in our school, which is fantastic. And because of the framework of our school seal, it looks at the values, and we look at the indicators, and we assess ourselves against these indicators. And really, when I see this, we are beginner level, because there's so many aspects of the holistic management of the school that really need to develop. So when I'm looking through this with the students, with the teachers, with the eco committee, we really need to address aspects. So I find it helps us, guide us to be more sustainable as an organization, and not just sell ourselves on being really really good at projects with the students within the curriculum. So it's fantastic.
Wonderful. This is great. Okay, so we had I think a very full picture of your actions, of your motivations, and this is wonderful to see just three wonderful educators and in their context and how they're infusing sustainability, and hopefully, Emma and Silvia now are practicing with this charter school seal, that hopefully it will be a good tool as well for this. And so we have just a few minutes, sorry about that, but if you have I think some of the comments from the chat, I saw that we were, talking between us there. So thank you. And thank you, Irma. She was sharing some resources there. I wonder if someone would like to make a comment. If you want to raise your hand, comment or question, if you have a question for Emma, Maria, or Silvia. You want to take a few minutes for this? No, we are all amazed still. Is still enjoying all the wonderful things that you were saying, and inspiring hope. Because let's see if I saw some. Yeah, Lorna. Hi, Lorna. So good to see you. If you want to.
Yes. Hi, everyone. What great presentations. This gives me so much hope. I was wondering, though, if any of the presenters would like to say something about how they assess. What's the assessment format that they're using, and how is that shaping students' maybe attitude or students' response to their community?
Maybe we can mention, Lorna, are you in Jamaica or somewhere else?
I'm not in Jamaica at the moment. I'm just in the UK for a couple months. Yes, okay. But I live in Jamaica.
And Lorna was, I think some of you met, of course, was one of the facilitators of our Earth Charter Education Center. Yes, so if you want to talk, I don't know who wants to start. Emma, you want?
So on different levels, first of all, with our eco committee that was formed as part of the Eco Schools application, they're kind of a real cherished and connected group. And so we use the indicators to assess on a holistic organizational level. And then we use the Earth Charter questionnaires to really target the students in the primary school and the secondary school. And just having those questions posed to them really has helped with us to understand kind of their ethical standpoint and their views on things. And I think I need to go to a more in-depth level to then find out and put some of the questions into the journals that they have to do on an individual level, so we can even get further in depth into their kind of understanding and their views.
Okay, no, that's great. But there's some other assessment methods that you can do in class as well? I don't know if Maria as well. Well, Silvia is not in that, but I don't know, Maria, do you want to say something in terms of assessment?
Yeah, we use a lot of self-assessment. So the student has to learn how to assess their own progress. And I think when we talk about transformative learning, it's really individual and cannot be assessed with traditional methods or exams, etc. So it's a constant, and I think Emma also mentioned that you guys include a lot of reflection in the process, and in university this is key. So we are incorporating a lot of journaling, a lot of, they have, for example, this semester, a journal about intuition, when intuition kicks in and in which moments and how they use these into their sustainable practice. And so self-assessment, journaling, peer feedback, but obviously not so much assessment of or summative assessment or traditional forms.
Wonderful. Do you want to add something, Emma?
Yep, as you were saying, Maria, the reflection and that process of reflection is integral. And because it's not assessed, it's not marked as such, they just have to do it. And we use a program called ManageBack, and we're moving towards another organization called Toddle, and that just plots their development in terms of the learning outcomes that they have to meet and show evidence of development in their MYP, their PYP, their IB, or their CP. So whichever program they're going, they have to develop those characteristics and those learning outcomes.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think...
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lorna, for your question. I think we're going to close with OK, LAI, your question, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit as well.
Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Oki Eliai. I'm based in the UK, and I've been in education for the last 30 years. I'm retired, and I train teachers both in the UK and abroad in Africa. Thank you, the speakers. Those were fantastic presentations and very important presentations. But what that made me think about was actually the word of sustainability itself. So, for example, the fantastic work being done in the Bavarian School, which is a secondary school, if you think about how it transitions from when those kids transition from secondary to university, how can that momentum be maintained? If you see what I mean.
I think because as part of their programs, they have to run projects. And so they have to be collaboratively working together, and they have to have a goal, and it's all structured through the IPARD, which is the 5 stages of service learning. It's through the experience. It's through putting a structure there for the students to put themselves out, to find something they're passionate about, to then to give them that kind of support and guidance, and be facilitators, not always just leaders in as a teacher and student role, but a facilitator. And they've got to find their own way through those learning outcomes, that it gives them that kind of impetus and understanding and that kind of worth to follow on as they go into the next level of their education.
And then they come to university, and most of the time we kill them. No. No, but it is true. It's a good question, because we see that a lot of things are happening in primary and secondary school, and university is moving slower. And we are going to get these students from Emma and students from other secondary schools all over the world who are going to be hopefully demanding from university, sorry, but this is not the way of education I want. I want something else, and I want education that makes sense. So I hope that the driving force that will change the ivory tower of higher education will be coming from primary, secondary school, and like Silvia, from people outside of university that is moving faster than us and is inspiring us. So it's a great question, Oka.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Can
Great
I add
question. Yes, please,
my
Silvia.
just very humble, that's why it's so important to work on the personal development. Sustainability comes from us within, first of all. That's my input. Small, very humble input in all this.
Thank you, Silvia.
Thank you. Well, and thank you, Emma, Maria, Silvia, and all of you who were here. Your presence, your time is the most precious thing that you could give us today, this 1 hour and a half. So yeah, we'll be sharing the recording, and we'll continue. We'll organize another event like this in some months, and please stay tuned. We are going to, you can, if you want to follow because not only this type of activities, we organize other type of webinars. We are, as well, Silvia mentioned, the Earth Charter magazine, that we share these type of articles and people who are working in these areas. We have publications, we have different things to share with you, so you can follow us in the social media or in the subscribe in the newsletter, etc. And you can be in touch. So this is a community that we create, like-minded people, and I think that's a driving force when you know that you're not alone doing this work, that there are many other people, and together we're stronger. Okay, so thank you so much, and we're closing now, and have a great evening, afternoon, or day like us. Bye.
Thank you for